Hello and welcome. So today I'd like to actually start something new on this channel. I'd like to start sharing a sort of development log because I don't know if any of you have noticed, but this YouTube channel has undergone several sort of transformations. And along the way, there was a 2-year period where I started learning how to roller skate, and perhaps one day I'll get to share some of my maneuvers with you. But when you see those maneuvers, I recognize now you'll never have seen the part where I had no coordination on roller skates and where I fell in the parking lot. And so in an effort to be as transparent as possible, I'd kind of like to open up a little bit more about myself and share sort of my ambitions and things I have going on that I would like to pursue further. The first thing is a website. So a lot of you know I was going to partner with a nonprofit and work with them on a website. That sort of fell through, and even though it fell through, it doesn't take away from the fact that I have the skills necessary to build a website. And as a result, I right now have a template website where I've purchased the domain, and now I'm playing with some of my programming and building stuff on a back end and working to get a sort of a portfolio space for myself built. So feel free to check that out. There's no mailing lists or any of those data things. There's a random dice roller that I like to click on a lot because I programmed it so that it makes the dice go away and come back on, and then it doesn't like take more clicks when you click it once, so it doesn't overspin. It's just well timed and well created to put out an evenly distributed dice roll. And I just am so happy with it. It feels so fun to roll, and I'm working to build more graphics for it. But that's what sort of has inspired me to start this development log. This is me falling in the parking lot for web design. I'm going at it with no real sort of end goal in mind, and I'm not mirroring something I've seen before. Instead, what I'm doing is I'm going in and trying to pursue answers to questions that I might not have had I not started building it. And with the dice roll mechanics, eventually I'd like to create a sort of space where we can all play in like a chat room together or something along those lines. Speaking of chat rooms, we do have a Discord that we have started, and I'd like to invite you all to join. It was started with the sort of idea that I'd be able to make content with some other people in a little bit more easy of a fashion. But honestly, it's a good place to sort of just engage with me off of YouTube that I'd like to sort of extend to you all, because I know I've spoken about having anxiety, but I think the support you all have given me has made me feel so great about sort of being open and revealing sort of my shortcomings that I wouldn't mind sharing a Discord space with you all. So if you want to join, I'll have a link to that, as well as if you want to roll a 6-sided dice. That's rolls with perfect odds. Not loaded in any way, and you can trust it because I tested it myself, and honestly, you will never guess what number is coming up next on that random number generator. It's that random. And you might be saying, Chloe, random doesn't exist. Well, I have entropically infused this algorithm to just sort of dilly up the most random number in all of existence every time on a premier basis. And you might not believe that. It sounds far-fetched. But does that mean you're calling me a liar? You think I'd lie to you? I'm fucking Sticky Basket. I don't lie. I play games, but those games are dice rolls with perfect odds. They're fair and balanced. Just like a little news station that likes to claim that it's fair and balanced, but those are some loaded dice if I've ever seen them, you know? And that's why I kind of wanted to make a set of dice, is because if I were to create something like a deck of cards. Then card games become available, and it becomes a sort of augmentation to what a chat room could be, and it could create a digital space for us to hang out and play games together, where they are games where we can actually connect with one another rather than fixate on the game itself. And that to me is sort of like the ultimate goal of video games. I am so happy that Aqueous Erbium and I have started playing Portal 2 together. It is a blast to be able to hang out with someone and have fun on a game, because for so long I felt isolated from a gaming community, because even on something like old school RuneScape, there was a point where I reached level 1600, and you know what happened? No one put GZ in the chat, and you know what happened after that? I took a break from RuneScape. And I think I'm probably 1603 or 1604 now, but I mean, that sting of reaching 1600 and no GZ, that's, it's, you know, you miss 100% of the GZs you don't get. And anyway, if you want to put GZ in the comments, I'd appreciate it. We are actually hoping to bring back old school RuneScape on, I've never actually, I mean, I don't know why I said bring it back. I'll save that for another day. This is DevLog 0. So anyway, there's going to be a Discord, there's going to be a dice roller. I'd like to get more graphics and sort of start creating a dice set for specifically a role-playing dice set, as well as a selector that allows you to pick what game you're playing, and it'll adjust your dice set accordingly. But again, these ambitions, they start as like a single perfectly distributed D6, and then it becomes, well, making a D20 or a D12, those aren't complicated tasks after that. And then all I have to do is make some graphics, which, I mean, you'll see the placeholder graphics, they're not great. But after the graphics are made, that's where the room for sort of like, if you all wanted to collaborate and include your own suggestions for dice, instead of just swapping between which game someone's playing, you could swap between the skins of dice. And it doesn't have to be pay to win or any of that. It's just having fun with the internet and having this cool interactive tool that, I don't know, doesn't have ads, is just there and free to use. Because computers can do 99% of problem solving that we need them to do, but oftentimes people who study computers shroud those tools in mystery. And I'm not saying everyone's trying to shroud the keys to the kingdom of computer science in mystery. What I'm suggesting is, by the point someone is teaching others computer science, so often they've become far removed from the layperson, and it makes it difficult for them to translate what they know into a way that a layperson could understand. I come from a multifaceted background that isn't rooted in computer science, which means some of the things that I'm doing, while they don't necessarily appear impressive at this point, one day, if I ever do create impressive works, I would like there to be sort of like a log, an account of like, hey, here's where we start, but nobody picks up a pencil and draws the next like Andrew Loomis portrait, you know? Andrew Loomis made thousands and thousands of drawings constantly and practiced sketching various poses and gesture drawing, and he developed his style over years and years of practice. And when we present our work, many times we don't share the practice, and the reason is because the practice isn't what's sort of interesting about our work. It's not what draws the eye, but the purpose of my work isn't to draw eyes to it. I don't know if you've noticed, but most of the time I like to do a little bit of trolling here and goof around. And the reason for that is because I hope maybe someone can see me and then feel as if, hey, I'm not alone. That's why I make this content, is because if I were younger and someone who looked like me were on the internet just saying, hey, we don't actually have to surrender to bigotry. We don't have to spend all our time arguing with these people. We can just call them idiots and move on and then go play Dark Souls. If I had heard someone say that at a much younger age, I'm sure I could have broken out of my closet sooner. And again, perhaps for most of my audience, that doesn't apply, but this is the content I make for maybe 3 people. And if you'd like to join me on the journey, that's what these devlog chapters are going to be about. I'm going to talk about roller skating. I'm going to talk about the website. Again, the Discord is open, so feel free to join, and you could post your introduction there. And then there's just so much to look forward to, and I'm so happy that you all join me because it makes the experience incredibly rewarding for me. I struggle with self-image quite a bit, and it wasn't until I started becoming sort of okay recording myself and sharing myself with the camera that I started feeling free to open up and share some of my more personal things. And that takes time, and I am just so grateful for how far I've come. And yet at the same time, I feel like there are people who come in now and go, oh wow, fuck Chloe Baloney, you know? And it's like, do you even know why you should be saying fuck Chloe Baloney? Because if you don't know I'm a woke trans Marxist veteran, like, you're not allowed to say fuck Chloe Baloney. Like, I don't fuck around, you know? You gotta know who I am before you discredit me. And once you discredit me, I don't give a shit what you have to say. Anyway, you don't have to ascribe to the same sort of virtues that I sort of present here, but the idea is we can just be kind and have fun. And that's what I love about sort of YouTube as I'm using it to broadcast myself, is that it's allowed me to make some of these connections and like build to the point where I feel as if when I talk to my camera, I'm now talking to you all in my community. And again, it's such an honor and privilege to be here. So thank you so much for providing me this outlet. Thank you so much for letting me tell the world's funniest joke. I'm surprised the government hasn't come and got me yet, but you know, I'll be checking the mailbox for the anthrax. And I mean, I know we made the world's greatest Dark Souls video already, but I'm thinking there's more to Dark Souls than just getting to the crossbreed Priscilla. Because I'm gonna be honest, I'm ready to go and, I don't know, just start doing some stuff in there for you. Because again, sometimes life gets in the way and it knocks us down and it makes it so challenging to do the things we love. But it's not until we do the things we love that we remember why getting knocked down isn't that bad to begin with. It just reminds us that we have to keep getting up and keep fighting for what we believe in and for the lives we want to live, because this doesn't have to be it. Just because the rules say one thing doesn't mean the rules can't be changed, and just because the status quo is one way now doesn't mean the status quo isn't wrong. And that's kind of what I want to share is I exist at the intersection of so many different crafts and trades, and at the same time I have to deal with men who talk over me because they think I don't know how power tools work, or they think I don't understand how an AN-GSE 52 Bravo MET Modernization Enterprise Terminal operates, when obviously, you know, I got an inkling of an idea about how my equipment works, you know? Like, that's the equipment I was like, I thought I was fighting for my country when I learned about that equipment. Now I learned I'm fighting for the capitalists, and oh gee whiz, talk about an old switcheroo that kind of, I don't know. It stings a lot what happened still, but I'm so glad to have grown past it. And I talked a little bit about acting, and I think I'm going to talk about it a little bit more, but stage fright is something I've struggled with quite a bit. So that's one of the reasons I don't necessarily edit out the middle parts of my videos or change down any of my words. It's because as I express myself, my goal is to be able to express myself more clearly as time goes on. And I think if I get too caught up in what I'm trying to get across or how to say it, it causes me to self-censor, and when I start to self-censor, I start to doubt myself, and then I start to feel like I don't have anything worth saying. And the key to overcoming that feeling is the same as I was talking about earlier. It's to start talking and to start saying how you feel. If you trust what your instincts tell you, if you trust that you're going to aim to be a good person and aim to be kind to others, you shouldn't fear what you have to say. You shouldn't feel the need to censor it. We are allowed to exist and take up space. And that is something that has taken me so much time to learn that I was in an auditioning techniques class, end of the semester, and the professor was talking about how you can ask for a moment as you're going into an audition to just sort of center yourself and feel the space in the room. And you would think, oh, hey, yeah, of course you can, because you're an actor. You're there to perform, and these are people auditing your performance, and they want you in their show. That's why you're there auditioning for it. And to me, the idea of even being present in a place for someone else and asking them if I were allowed to sort of own the space feels scary. But if we let fear like that guide our lives, we'll never take opportunities and see some of the great successes that can come out of those one-off scenarios where you do say, oh yeah, I'll go do the audition, and then maybe you get the part. And so that's sort of inspired once more that part of me that dreams of one day acting, because I think it's so much more fun to dream of becoming a professional actor one day than to dream of retirement at my current job after 30 years. The day-to-day monotony of work versus being a member of a production and creating a piece of art with a bunch of other people collaboratively, I mean, it's a stark difference. But we live in a society that tells us that we have to do this in order to be able to afford that. And I'm starting to think that we don't have to do the work if we can find ways to solve the problems without increasing the workload for others. And I think one of the best ways to do that is to provide the resources for studying computer science and things along those lines through my experience. Anyway, all that to say, hopefully in the future I'll have a little tutorial on how to set up your own website. I'll try to make them quick, easy, and to the point. As I go through my website, I'll have updates in the devlog, and I'm sorry for rambling so much here on this. I think this is like an episode 0 because I just wanted to sort of put out that I want to do this moving forward. Because again, at some point I gotta show you my roller skating skills, and at that point, I'm gonna be a world famous roller skater. I mean, I'm excited for it. I'd be like, you remember Alita Battle Angel? I'll be like her. And that's one of my favorite movies. And, well, mangas. And anyway, thank you so much for joining me. And thank you so much for your support throughout this journey. It's incredible, and I look forward to where we go from here. Love you. Bye. See you in the next one.